Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. 35M uncovered wife 36F affair with boss. Advice. About 2 years ago, I caught my wife of 4 years at the time, on a camera set up in my home, having phone sex with a man while I was at work. We had a 1-year show at the time. I came home and confronted her. She denied everything until I mentioned the camera. She confessed to having phone sex, and said it was with an ex-BF whom she hadn't seen in person since before she met me. She begged me to forgive her and give her a second chance. 2 years have gone by, and we recently had a second child, and she just told me that her boss of 7 years is leaving the company, and told her to leave as well. This seemed very odd to me, until I questioned it, and asked point blank if the boss was the one from 2 years ago on the other end of phone sex. She admitted that it was, and said that she was having phone sex with her boss, off and on, for a total of about 5 times, all 4 years ago, but not anything more. I questioned this hard the next day, and she admitted that 4 years ago, before any of our children were born, she had a 6-month affair with her boss, but it was only kissing. The next day, I questioned it again, and she admitted that they had slept together on 2 business trips during that time, but never over each other houses. The next day, I questioned it, and it changed to 2x on each business trip during that time. Next day, it was 2x on each business trip and 2x over my own house and 1x over his house, all 4 years ago. She keeps saying that all this happened over a 6-month period, 4 years ago, before any of our children were born, when she was going through some depression struggle, a little more than a year after we got married. She says that it ended a few months before we started trying for our first child, and unfortunately, since it was her boss, she had a backslide when she back to work after her maternity leave. She swears the backslide, which was 2 years ago, was 1 instance of kissing/touching, and 1 instance of phone sex in which I caught her. She said that 1 month after I caught her, he FaceTimed himself jerking off to her, and she did not participate in anything. She claims to have told him that it's all over and has to stop, back shortly after I caught her. Since that was in 2019, and she got pregnant shortly after, and had our second child in 2020, during the year in which we both worked from home, she says that nothing has happened since I caught her having phone sex back in 2019, even though he was still her boss up until a few weeks ago. When I asked her why she didn't tell me sooner, she says she was afraid I would leave. When I asked why she still worked for the guy, she initially claimed that they were still friends, until just last week when she agreed with me that being friends is not possible. She told me that she texted him to not contact her anymore, and she has blocked his number. She tells me over and over again that she's remorseful and has changed. She has offered to give me access to her phone and email. When I question the why, she keeps saying that she's sorry and doesn't even understand why she would do such a thing as have an affair. She says she's a different person now and is 100% committed to me. She says she'll do whatever it takes to regain my trust and make things work with me and our family. She broke down crying, explaining the situation to our pastor, who referred us to couples therapy, which starts this week. I'm lost and don't know what to do. Do I trust her? Timeline as provided by her: 2015, got married 2017 to 6-month affair, 6x kissing/touching sessions, 5x phone sex, 6x intercourse. During this time, she and I were going through a rough patch and she refused to go to couples therapy. We still slept together, said I love you to each other every night, had sex regularly, and went on dates/trips as married couples do, but I had a sense that she was depressed. A few months after she says the affair ended, she got pregnant with our first child. 2018 to first child born 2019, in the fall, claims that she had 1x kissing/touching session with her boss, and 1 phone sex call that I caught, and she lied to cover up. 2 months later, he FaceTimed himself jerking off to her, and she says she did not participate. We later found out that she was pregnant with our second child at that time. 2021, she and I have both been working from home for over a year, but just found out that her boss is leaving, and suggested that she leave the company as well. This is when I put the pieces together and the truth of the past 4 years trickled in. Update the 27th of April 2021, just to clarify, the AP left the company, and she says she has no desire to join him. She's looking to leave her company as well to rid any memories of him, and wants to start with a clean slate, sell house and move, get new job, new phone, new email, etc. I gave her back my wedding ring and took her rings back. I ordered 2 at-home DNA tests for the kids, should be arriving in a few days. She's been reading some of the suggested books about why affairs happen, how to prevent, and recover from them. She's sticking to her timeline and the details. I picked up her phone and confirmed that the AP is no longer a contact, and his number is listed as blocked. She also blocked him on LinkedIn. Last night, I asked her to message the AP so and confess to the affair, and she did so via LinkedIn message, I witnessed. She also said she would call her parents today and admit everything to them as well. She keeps begging me to not give up and wants to renew our vows after we're done with counseling. She's pledging to not be social with anyone at work ever again, and wants to do whatever it will take to fix our marriage. I'm torn, and want to do what's best for my family, ESP kids, if they truly are mine. Do I trust her? Do you trust someone who has looked you in the eye for the entirety of your marriage and lied to you, repeatedly? Of course you don't. Word of warning, do not do couples counseling. The correct way to do this is that you both do individual, secular and not faith-based, first, and then once you have both done a few sessions, her to work out why she did what she did, you to try and come to terms with it, then you do the couples counseling, but not at your church. You have a lot of thinking to do because you are married to a serial cheater who was in a relationship with their AP for longer than you guys have been married. You now need to do the following in this order. Go and see a lawyer and find out what a divorce will look like. Separate yourself from her in whichever way you can, sleep in separate rooms, no sex, etc. Get yourself a STD test and make sure she does as well, and no sex until you are both clean. Chances are she was sleeping with him without protection and who know who else he has been screwing. Organize a paternity test for the kids. She was sleeping with her boss and you throughout this period, and regardless of what you think or believe, there is a very real chance that your kids may not be yours. Make her aware that this is what you are doing because at this stage you cannot believe a word she says. Get yourself into counseling, non-church based preferably, with someone who specializes in infidelity. Make sure your wife does the same, and if she resists, tell her that if your marriage is to survive, that this is the one thing that will kill it if she refuses. She has to see a secular counselor as well. You have a lot of work and thinking ahead of you, and your world, as you know, is about to blow up. So remember to breathe, stay off the alcohol/drugs and see your GP to get some help for anxiety/stress. She is lying to you. Adults don't just kiss. If she never completely cut off contact with him, then their affair never stopped. She just got better at hiding it from you. She is trickle-truthing you only the amount she thinks you will believe and not leave her. I find the circumstances of his leaving the company and trying to get her to follow him suspicious. They were very likely caught, and she is trying to get ahead of the story before someone else tells you about them. Get DNA tests done for your 2 kids, have an STD test done for you because you don't know who he or even your wife has been sleeping with. Speak to an attorney to figure out what your options are and seek out individual counseling for you. Do not just jump into couples counseling until both of you have done individual counseling and decided to try reconciling. If the AP is married, let his spouse know what has been going on as well. I am so sorry, man. This is an awful thing for me to say to you, but your wife is disgusting. She is cold, selfish, a liar, sneaky, a cheater. I'll end there. You want to grow old with this woman? I wouldn't. She can't keep her pants on with other men. Do you think you can depend on her if things get tough? I think in the forefront of her mind would be to run to another man and leave you. Look out for yourself here. She'll be looking after herself, you can be sure. Do you trust her? No. She had a 4-year affair with her boss and she continued to lie and lie and lie. I know she said 6 months, but there is no chance they stopped sleeping together during the whole time they worked together. Catching on to the fact that her boss was her AP was good on your part. Him wanting her to leave her job with him is further evidence that they've continued the affair. If she left and joined him, they could have kept things up under your nose. Even her story about when she finally ended things with him makes no sense, and she's just trying to minimize as much as she can. I agree with the paternity test advice BC. Even if it doesn't change how you feel about them, the results could answer some important questions. I wouldn't tell her you're doing it until you have the results. That way she can't turn it around on you. BTW, tell her bosses so. She might have more info about what went on. I'm sorry this is happening to you. No one deserves to be deceived and betrayed like that. The fact that her boss asked her to come with him and leave her current definitely implies that things were not as over as she is portraying. With the inconsistencies and trickle truthing, I would say the departure of her boss/AP was probably a catalyst for a decision. She only provided information when under pressure, and even then it was incomplete. Her pattern of behavior seems to point to her only changing course when under external pressure, and even then sliding back into the affair when things get tough. I would recommend both you and your going to individual counseling for several sessions before going to joint counseling. Marriage/joint counseling will likely not get to the bottom of why she was unfaithful, and it is not likely to address your pain/grief adequately. Joint counseling tends to focus on opening avenues of communication, not addressing each individual's issues. I would also caution against only utilizing Christian counseling, as it often focuses on reconciliation to the point of neglecting issues that deeply affect the betrayed spouse. Remember that forgiveness does not equal forgetting. As difficult as it is to hear, you need to keep divorce in mind, both for you and your children. A betrayal of this magnitude may be something that you can forgive, but something that you ultimately don't forget and cannot move past. It's better for both you and the kids that both spouses are happy and healthy, even if that means separate homes. If reconcile just for your kids or social pressure, church community, friends, etc., you will likely be miserable. Kids are very perceptive and they will pick up on it if you do not have a happy/healthy relationship with your wife. Remember that infidelity is a biblically acceptable reason for divorce. Reconciliation is only possible if your wife is fully truthful and respects your boundaries, and even then you may not be able to heal while staying with her. It might also be a good idea to separate for a while. This will give you the space to slow down and think. Either way, I would advise quietly contacting a lawyer. This does not mean that you and your wife cannot reconcile, but the situation is complicated enough that knowing your options and having some legal help is necessary. You need to be very cautious with reconciliation. So far it sounds like your wife has not had any consequences for her repeated infidelity. If she doesn't have consequences, she has no reason to not slide back into old habits the next time she feels the itch. Figure out strict expectations and rules for reconciliation, and make sure to have consequences if they are violated. Nope, she was ready to quit her job to follow the boss. Dude, how old are you? You're a grown-up man yet believing in princess. You've got quite a few good suggestions. 1. DNA for the kids. Although does it really matter? I assume you love this kids more than her life, so regardless who is the father you'll want them, since you were there from day 0. 2. You separate. Yes, you separate for a month or 2, you need clarity, you want to ensure this is what you want. In meantime, RP potentially XWW is shitting her panties, realizing shit is serious, and this is a glance of Hugh potential divorced life. 3. You notify her boss, wife/girlfriend. That is mandatory, you expose him. Out of 3 bullet points above, number 2 is the most powerful. Wayward spouses when separated realize what they are losing. They must be removed physically from their comfort zone, from their safe place, from their home life. The outcomes here are: They realize shit is real and how they destroyed what they had. Suddenly they realize the marriage was not that bad, and whatever problems there were, it was nothing. In short, they suddenly figure out what they are about to lose. They are lonely, and within couple of days they reach to AP and need love and support and shit. Sadly, that means you know that there is nothing to salvage. I understand in theory it should work, but with 2 small kids and COVID, this will be difficult to achieve. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.